So this Utah team has a massive test coming up in UCLA. And then after that, they have a gauntlet coming up of Big 12 play. How are they going to do? Well, I think very well. I think Utah is going to be really good because this offense, I think, is in for a major improvement. As we just talked about in the first segment, where did Utah's offense rank last year? 14th in the conference. Ouch. 23 points per game. But let's not forget, when this Utah team has their guys available, their top options at offense, it's usually a lot better than that. And Jason Beck last year leading the fourth best offense on a yards per game basis, highly encouraging. Even Andy Ludwig, when he had Cam Rising available to him, averaged over 35 points per game. So I do believe this Utah offense is going to bounce back. We mentioned it, the offensive line. When you have an offensive line like Utah has in place, it's ample time for your offense to do everything. Offense is all about timing, right? Wide receivers running their routes and making sure they're getting open and in and out of their breaks at the right time. Quarterback getting the ball out on time. But where does that all start with? And running backs too, hitting the hole at the right time. It all starts with the offensive line holding their blocks and opening up holes and providing ample protection for the quarterback to make plays at the right time. Utah has the base of an amazing offensive line, and they should be able to make plenty of plays because of it. Is it going to be a loaded box? Yeah. But Utah's got the guys that can break off a tackle or two, whether it's Wayshawn Parker, Devon Dampier, or Naquari Rogers, that can get that extra yard and then open enough up in the throw game where Utah can do something there. And we mentioned too, we didn't talk about it a ton in the first segment, but there are some receivers in this room that I like, where it's like, hey, you just need to do enough. There's several guys in here where, are they Britton Covey, Devon Vele? I don't know that, but are they capable of making a catch or two to move the chains? I definitely think that is the case here. And you have a quarterback who also was only sacked 5 times last season, like not against the P4 teams, 5 times the entire season. So what does that mean? He's very elusive. He's going to buy time for his guys to get open and make plays downfield. And I think that's what they're going to do. So I think this Utah offense is in for a major improvement. They were projected to finish 12th last year. I think they are skyrocketing up the charts this coming season. I right now have Utah as having the 5th best offense in the Big 12. And once again, before you call me crazy with that, I just go back to the same thing I said. Offensive line is one of the most important positions in football. How much time are you given to make your plays and make things happen? Utah's going to have plenty with an amazing offensive line and a quarterback who's proven he can succeed at the collegiate level and I feel like is ready to do things at the P4 level. So I have Utah as the 5th best offense. I'm going to give Tech the slight edge. I know they just had their injured running back there, but they have some amazing pass catchers there. Morton has been doing his thing at Tech or just in the Big 12 now for a couple of years, so I like what he brings to the table. Iowa State, we got our first look at their offense this past weekend. Rocco Becht running the show. Hanson, the back, looked good. Didn't love what I saw from their offensive line. Saw just enough from their pass catchers. Shout out Utah high school grad, Dominic Overby. I think he went to West Jordan, so it was really cool to see him just get a play, make an action. Obviously, we're all Utah football fans, but we also love the high school talent in the state of Utah, so that was cool to see. I think ASU's offense is going to be great again. They get 4 offensive linemen back. Still got Jordan Tyson there on the outside. Lost Scadaboo, replace him with Udo, who's a talented running back from Army at over 1,000. And Levitt's probably the best quarterback in this conference right now, so I would go ASU next. But my number one offense is going to be Baylor in this because I do think the Bears, with a ton of returning production on offense, like a bunch of offensive line back, a couple of talented pass catchers, really good back, and Sawyer Robertson, also one of the best quarterbacks. I'll put them just above. But like Utah versus TCU, TCU has nowhere near the talent that Utah has in the trenches. And do they have some talented players coming in at running back and receiver? Sure, but it's all new and it's all transfers, and that scares me a little bit because they haven't proven they have that chemistry and connection with Hoover. And I know we're saying the same thing about Dampier, but the similarity is you have Dampier and Jason Beck have worked together. You got guys who were with Jason Beck last year too. Naquari Rogers worked with Devon Dampier. Ryan Davis worked with Devon Dampier, right? And they just don't have the offensive line that Utah does, where if these teams need to, it takes more time to get on the same page. I'm not scared of that because you have the offensive line to provide you with that time. So I have Utah being better than TCU. I also have them being better than Kansas State. Matt Wells, first year as an offensive coordinator, I just think there's going to be some growing pains. Also, we don't know how long Dylan Edwards is out for. That was a big loss for them, one of their top backs. Still have another really productive back. Couple of guys at receiver. I like Avery Johnson a lot. He's really good. If Kansas State has a better offense than Utah, I'm not going to be surprised. But to me, this Utah offense, the O-line, the running back, the quarterback, enough playmakers at the pass catcher spot that just need to do some things. You don't need to put the game on their back. That's enough to me for what I do believe will be a top 5 offense in the Big 12 this coming season. So is Utah's defense going to be in the top 5. I do think so. All offseason, I have said Utah's defense takes a slight step back to me. Why do I say that? You don't lose the talent that you lost in the trenches to me and not replace them with proven production and get better. There is no Keanu Tanavasa back. There is no Junior Tafuna back. There's no Samote Pepa back. There's no Van Fillinger back. There's no Connor O'Toole. That's 5 guys who were key cogs in Utah's defensive line success last season. You get Logan Fano back. That's big. Let's not forget Logan Fano, when he was last really healthy for Utah, had 3.5 sacks early on before an injury. Last offseason, spent the whole offseason rehabbing. This year spends it training. Probably looking at Utah's sack leader there. Then defensive tackle, you get Dallas Fakalahi, who last year as a true freshman showed a lot. I think he'll be the best D tackle Utah's roster has this year. Then you get Mahi, who's been with this Utah team for a very long time, even the COVID season back then. But what about Mahi? He's one of those guys that will do his job well, but to me, he's not a game wrecker or anything like that. And then the other defensive end spot is very open. Probably John Henry Daly based on the reports that we've heard, but he hasn't proven a ton at the P4 level or just in college football. Very good in high school, but got to prove more. And the depth after those guys are massive question marks. We've talked a lot about that all offseason, is there are huge question marks of which guys are going to step up along that defensive line. So that's a part for me where I'm like, I am going to move them back from, they only gave up 20 points per game. This year, I've also only said slight step back. So I don't think this is a Utah defense that falls out of the top 5 of the Big 12. And you're looking at the top 5 defenses in the Big 12 a year ago, BYU at 19 a game, Utah only allowing 20 a game. That's Arizona State at 22, Houston at 22, Iowa State at 22, Colorado at 23. I think Utah's defense is going to allow somewhere between 21 to 23 points per game. Right now, I'll say they allow 22 points per game because I'm just not sure the pass rush is going to be as potent. But you get 3 returning linebackers that have all proven that they can make plays at this level. I think Jonathan Hall showed a lot of growth as the season wore on. So Utah's secondary, Teo Johnson, Rabbit Evans, I think the safety tandem is actually the best thing that Utah is going for them. I feel the best about that, even better than I do about the offensive line in some ways, just because I have some questions about that interior, even if those questions are like, hey, it's still a really good group. I just don't know if it's the best in the country when I look at it there. So versus Teo and Rabbit, I think both those guys have a chance to be all Big 12 candidates there. And the offensive line, I have questions at one of the spots. At safety, I really don't have many questions there. Cornerback, Smith, Snowden, Elijah Davis are back. You get Blake Cotton, a UC Davis transfer who's just played a ton of college football. And this Utah team has a history, especially in the secondary, right, of replacing that production and making play after play with them as well, or they're sliding those guys in seamlessly and then making play after play too. So I still think his Utah defense is going to be really good. A lot of people don't think there's going to be a drop-off. Talking to them at Big 12 media days, even the people around this Utah team, I just had, like I said, I have to see it to believe it. To me, if I'm going to project you to be better than last year, I want to see the reasons why Utah's offense being as better as it is a reason why, like Devon Dampier, Jason Beck, those are all reasons why Utah's offense should be better. Who on Utah's defensive line has shown me that they're ready to step up and fill in for Junior Tafuna, for Keanu Tanavasa, for healthy Connor O'Toole? And I know he wasn't always healthy, so that might be the argument. It's like, hey, just get a guy in who's healthy and he might be better. And that's fair, but that's something that just remains to be seen. So to me, I do have Utah taking a slight step back this year. I have Tech as the best defense in the Big 12. That defensive line is absolutely nasty, and they got players at every level, especially they got a great linebacker up there too. Iowa State, their linebackers are back healthy. They're dangerous. They're another team with pass rush questions, but they were able to do enough against Kansas State that convinced me they're going to have a really good defense this year. Go Kansas State in there at 3. Their pass rush actually looked pretty nasty to me. Got some good linebackers, some good play in the secondary. Then I went Utah at 4. So I have Utah taking a slight step back because of the questions I have about their ability to get after the quarterback. Really hope those guys on the defensive line play this clip and prove me wrong. I would love to say Sac Lake City is back and declare the mayor, hopefully Logan Fano this coming season. But because of the unproven nature over a 12-game season, I do have my questions about how that group is going to do. Still really good. Morgan Scalley can draw up blitzes and create pressure. And once again, like I'm picking Utah to win 10 games. I think it's going to have a top 4 defense in the conference. I think it's going to be a really good defense. But to me, they're probably 2 points per game worse this year than they were last year because of the defensive line questions. Maybe, though, because they don't have as much pressure on them, being as the offense can carry their more weight and don't have as many 3-and-outs, a fresher Utah defense will allow that unit to eat and perform better. Hopefully that will be the case, but it remains to be seen. I have Utah as the 4th best defense in the Big 12 and the 5th best offense in the Big 12. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Today's episode of Locked On Utes is brought to you by our friends at Rugiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rugiet Ready. Rugiet Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Unlike the usual pill that can take hours, Rugiet's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue, and it kicks in fast. On average, in 15 minutes, effects can last up to 36 hours too, so you can stay confident and in control when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked for you, Rugiet might be the answer. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch too. And I love that it's completely online. Rugiet connects you with board-certified doctors and ships your treatment discreetly to your door. Head to Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege, all caps, no spaces, and use the code LockedOnCollege to get 15% off today. That's Rugiet.com/LockedOnCollege, and you can use the promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off when you head over to Rugiet.com today. That's going to do it for today's Locked On Utes. Make sure you join us tomorrow as we continue to get you ready for Utah versus UCLA. Football is back, people. Just a few days away as we gear up for the big one in Pasadena, Utah versus UCLA.